Everything affects everything, and this is a quick primer on systems biology and systems thinking. Hello, my name is Jonathan Isbell. I'm a registered dietitian, writer, published author, and researcher as well, but I primarily like to take the role as a health educator. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about systems biology and systems thinking and how everything affects everything. So, to start off with, systems biology and systems thinking is rooted in seeing the big picture, compared to the reductionist viewpoint, which would be trying to see each piece of the puzzle separately, individually, and taking a microscopic view to see how each piece functions by itself. But systems thinking would rather look at the big picture, put all the puzzle pieces together to see how they work together to form the big picture and how they work together as part of the larger system. In an ideal world, we would use both of these perspectives together. But we don't often do that in health, wellness, in any area of our lives for the most part. We oftentimes just run forward looking at one specific entity without seeing the bigger picture or how things fit together as part of that bigger puzzle. Now, I love to connect the dots between things that impact our health, our wellness, our world around us. And we oftentimes can connect the dots to see a greater cause and effect relationship, to see how our everyday decisions impact our health, for instance. And systems biology and systems thinking really help support that model of thought to say, okay, where is the cause and effect relationship? How are these things affecting those things? And we can see this within the greater interest in the gut-brain connection more recently in more recent years, with respect to the gut-brain connection for nutritional psychiatry, how the gut and the brain communicate back and forth with hormones, neurotransmitters, even the feelings of hunger, thirst, serotonin production, dopamine, all kinds of things that can happen in the gut, but also affect the brain together as well. But if we had just taken the brain out by itself and taken the gut out and then taken the gut out by itself, we wouldn't have been able to connect the dots on how they actually communicate together inside the human body. Likewise, we see the skin gut connection or the skin immune connection nowadays too, to where we know that if someone has dermatitis, they have acne, they have eczema, that's showcasing on the external side of the skin, and we see the external signs. Rather than placing band-aid after band-aid after band-aid on those external showcases of something that's going on inside the body, we can actually take a better look, see the big picture, and to say, okay, where is that eczema, where is that acne, where is that dermatitis coming from, and connect it back to the gut with an immune response, an autoimmune response, an inflammatory response that's happening inside the body. So then we can ask better questions to look upstream, and I love looking upstream, to say, what is that person eating? How is that person living? How is that person's stress level? What are their hormones telling us at this stage of in their life? There's a lot of other factors to consider instead of just saying this person has acne, this person has eczema, here's a band-aid approach, a temporary fix for a small amount of time without actually getting to the root cause or the root issue. Now, I say the root cause or the root issue because those are also perspectives found in functional medicine. And functional medicine is actually how I got started in my world of nutrition. And I think for the longest time, I've always been trying to ask the questions of how this affects that, the cause and effect relationships that involve our everyday experiences around the world. And I mean, we may not be traveling around the world, but everyday experiences for all of us that live around the world, and all of the many experiences that we might have. So, systems thinking and systems biology is also part of functional medicine. And functional medicine then helps us connect the dots between acne and the gut, or the gut-brain connection, or even environmental medicine to say, how does the human biology itself work as part of the ecosystem of the environment around us? And with all that being said, that is the end of my primer video on systems biology and systems thinking. I want to encourage you this week and every week to go ahead and ask a little bit more questions, think a little bit more as well, and try not to miss the forest for the trees. Try to see the big picture view at all times and not get lost with your microscope looking in the forest, looking at the leaves, not realizing where they're coming from, which would be falling from the trees. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and send you off with encouragement this week to try to find those things in your lives that we see the downstream effects, but we can also look upstream and realize how things are connected. everything kind of does affect everything. And the more we know, the more we can connect those dots and then take action into our lives and prevent negative experiences, signs and symptoms, and take action to improve our lives on a daily basis. And every single little baby step matters in the long term. And with that being the end of this video now, I will go ahead and encourage you, if you wanted to connect with me on social media, I will include my social media handles in the description of this video below. And I also write a weekend newsletter that's free that I send out, and that's Zigzag Nutrition at substack.com. And that's a weekend newsletter that I send out that should not take more than 5 to 10 minutes each week, but it's filled with little hints, tips, strategies to help you live your best life possible, with these little points of education to help garner your perspective in different ways, to help support your health and wellness journey in every walk in your life, in your career, in your relationships, in your family time, in every area of our lives. And so that weekend newsletter that I send out, I'm going to go ahead and encourage you to sign up for that, and I will include the link to that below as well. Again, that's a free weekend newsletter that I like to write just to help educate people, because that's my primary interest in my career, is just to help educate people and give them the tools, the tips, the strategies to take on this crazy world and to live their best lives possible. So that's kind of the reason why I do it. This is a primer on systems thinking, systems biology, and I want to encourage you this week to think a little bit more, look upstream, not miss the forest for the trees, and connect the dots to improve your life on a daily basis. The baby steps that it can take once we know a little bit more and we see the connected dots in the sky. And another little bonus hint here for you today is that systems biology and systems thinking also have some historical roots in mathematics. And if you have any background in mathematics yourself, you might be familiar with network theory. And network theory would also suggest that everything affects everything. And network theory is also connected to string theory, which suggests that all of the networks and all of the things in the network are connected by strings. And you can kind of get a picture of this if you imagine one of those old spider web diagrams to help us connect the dots between different concepts that we learned about and studied and even drew out a little bit as we were kids. It was called a spider web diagram whenever I was young. It may be called something else now, but essentially it's a concept map where you put ideas around a circle, and then you circle them, and then you connect them back to the larger idea or the big picture. And that's a model of string theory or network theory as well.